Hello, students. Welcome to the new lecture of our lecture series on professional English. This lecture is on the topic sentence writing. Sentence writing is one such topic that is being covered in three modules of the course uh, in module 2, in module 3, and in module 4. So that is why I'm taking sentence writing as an altogether separate topic, and I am trying to cover all that has been distributed in the different modules. So, first, we should understand what is a sentence. The topics to be covered here are sentence definition, salient features of sentence structure, requisites of sentence construction, paragraphs based on types of sentences. Now, what is a sentence? Sentence is a group of words so arranged as to give a complete sense, and it should be in a logical order. So, sentence definition of sentence is very much clear to every one of you. But the most important thing is that group of words should be giving a meaningful sense. Then only it is known as a sentence. Otherwise, it can be a phrase or it can be a clause also. So, a good sentence must be correct and communicative. It must convey the idea or the information without any ambiguity or confusion. It should be very clear in its meaning. The salient features of sentence construction. First feature is that logical order of words should be there. So when we talk about a sentence construction, grammatical correctness is the first requirement of a good sentence. And how we can make it possible? By putting the words in the logical order. Now, when we talk about logical order, every language has its own order of putting words in a sentence, and this is known as the grammar of that language. Second feature is the correct use of tenses. Tense means it is the modification of verb which shows the time of action. Third point is the subject verb concord. This means agreement of the verb with the subject. A verb should always agree with the number of the subject. Then next point is knowledge of verbal phrases. Knowledge of verbal phrases means that there are certain verbs which are followed by different preposition and they tell different meaning. So that is why they are called verbal phrases. These verbal phrases make our expressions concise as well as precise. For example, kindly hear me out means pay attention to what I am saying. Listen to me. Next is the proper knowledge of clauses. As I already mentioned, that there are different types of construction like phrase, clause. So, clause is a group of words which gives us some sense but not a complete sense and has its own subject and predicate. I have already discussed this in the first module. So, clause, if we have the proper knowledge of clauses, it helps in writing simple sentence, complex sentence, or compound sentence. Next is the proper use of punctuation. Punctuation means the comma, full stop, which gives the proper effect to the sentence. Next, short sentences. When we use short sentences, it leads to simplicity and creates more understanding. Break the sentence. To avoid overloading of information, we should try to break the sentence into short parts, small parts. Economy with words. This feature saves time as well as it sounds more interesting. Avoid cluttering phrases. Now, by substituting uneconomical phrases with simple connectives, we can avoid the cluttering phrases. If we use very big phrases, bombastic phrases, it can create a lot of confusion. So, we can use simple connectives like and, although, and so on. Avoid redundant phrases. This is known as pleonasm. When we use excess words, that creates a redundancy in the sentence. So we should try avoiding using excess words. avoid circuitous expressions. Uh, we should not try beating around the bush. We should come directly to the point. So write more direct and to the point sentences. Use active voice. Avoid emphasizing the object, rather focus on the subject. When we talk about technical communication, technical writing, we should try to use active voice. Next topic is the requisites of sentence construction. So how to write a good sentence? There are some requirements. So we'll discuss them one by one. First point is avoid excessive coordination. Now, when we talk about coordination, so we are talking about the coordinating conjunctions that we are going to use in a sentence or a series of sentences. So we should be economical here, be sparing in the number of coordinating conjunctions. Means we should not use lot of many conjunctions. A passage containing many ands or buts, it is not easy to read. For example, I grew up in a large family and we lived on a small farm in a poor area of Iran. And every day I had to get up early and do farm work and spend a lot of time cleaning out the animal stables. And then I would be exhausted in the evening and I would go to bed very early and I never had time to read. So you can just count the number of ant in this sentence. So it is too lengthy, huh? And it is not creating the correct effect. So we can revise it. How? Because I grew up in a large family on a small farm in a poor area of Iran, every day I had to get up early to do farm work, mostly cleaning out the animal stables. Full stop. I would be so exhausted in the evening that I would go to bed very early without ever having time to read. I emphasized on the full stop here because we used less number of ands. We have used because, then comma, then full stop and changed the started a new sentence. So this way we can avoid excessive coordination and write a better sentence. Second point, use coordinate structures for coordinate ideas. That means connect ideas of equal importance with coordinating conjunctions. When we have when we use coordinating conjunctions, when the ideas or the thoughts are of the same value, they are independent, right? Equal importance. For example, every morning dad makes pancakes and mom reads the newspaper. So both the tasks are important, of equal importance. That is why we are using and, that is the coordinating conjunction. So to highlight one idea over another, put important information in the independent clause and subordinate less important information. That means in the subordinate clause we have to place less important information. For example, we'll see a faulty sentence construction and then we'll revise it. He lived in a hotel and he never had to do anything for himself. Now, the second clause is the point that the writer wants to emphasize, right? And the first clause provides explanatory information. So, how we can write it? When he lived in a hotel, he never had to do anything for himself. So, we need to emphasize what we want to emphasize. Third point is avoid excessive subordination. Avoid writing sentences with many dependent clauses. Even if the sentences are accurately constructed, they become difficult for the reader to unravel. So if we are using many number of dependent clauses, then also the sentence is not easy to understand. Again, we'll take the example. Because the report was weak and poorly written, the boss, who wanted to impress the company president by showing her how efficient his division was to gain more prestige in the company, decided, despite the fact that he was under pressure of an imminent deadline, that he would rewrite the report over the weekend. Now, can you easily understand and the meaning of this sentence? It is not easy to comprehend. So how we can revise it? Because the report was weak and poorly written, the boss decided to rewrite it over the weekend, despite the pressure of an imminent deadline. He wanted to impress the company president by showing her how efficient his division was so that he could gain more prestige. Now it is very clear, right? So we should try avoiding excessive subordination and coordination. Next point is vary your sentence connections. Vary the way you connect ideas in your writing so that you also vary your sentence structure and place emphasis where it best serves your ideas. That means when you writing a sentence, you should try to use variety so that you can place emphasis where you wish to emphasize your idea. For example, the guitarist had grown up with seven sisters. As a result, he really knew about women. Again, the guitarist had grown up with seven sisters, so he really knew about women. In these two examples, both ideas, growing up with seven sisters and knowing about women, receive equal weight and are given equal importance. But what is important here? We can write, because the guitarist had grown up with seven sisters, he really knew about women. Here, the sentence emphasis is placed on knowing about women because of growing up with seven sisters. So, growing up with seven sisters is made subordinate in a dependent clause, right? There are next, we'll talk about the options for connecting clauses. How we can connect the clauses by using coordinating conjunctions, by using transitional expressions, or by using subordinating conjunction. You can see I have taken many examples. For and, that is addition, coordinating conjunction is used, but there is no subordinating conjunction for and. Transitional expressions are there like also, further, furthermore. So as per the sentence, we can use these. Next is but or yet. This is contrast. So for contrast, we have transitional expressions like however, nevertheless, on the other hand. And subordinating, we have although, even though, whereas, while. Again, for coordinating, or nor, that is alternative. We can use instead, otherwise, alternatively as transitional expression, or unless as a subordinating conjunction. So for these are to show result. So, as a transitional expression, we can use therefore, as a result, hence, consequently, thus, accordingly, then, etc. And for subordinating, we can use because, as, since, so, such that, so that, now that, etc. Now we'll come to the next topic, that is paragraphs based on types of sentences. You have already studied about paragraphs. So, but on the type, depending on the types of sentences, also we write different types of paragraphs. So, first one is description. Now, what is a descriptive paragraph? The sentence that we are using, that is important. That is descriptive in nature. So, descriptive paragraph is a focused and detail rich account of a specific topic. It describes a thing, a person, or a place. Now, detailed information allows the reader to form an image in his or her imagination. The better the description, the clearer the image. So, when we describe a person or place, it creates a very clear image on the mind of the reader. So, paragraphs in this style often have a concrete focus. For example, the sound of a waterfall, the stench of a skunk spray. The skunk is an animal, is a mammal, and it sprays a kind of liquid which is very stinks too much, but can also convey something abstract. So these are the things that we know they are concrete, but something abstract like an emotion or a memory, these can be also created with the help of a paragraph. Some descriptive paragraphs do both. These paragraphs help readers feel and sense the details that the writer wants to convey. So it depends on the sentences that we are using. Next is narrative. So it narration means telling a story. Something happens first, then second, then third, etc. Of course, narrative paragraphs are used in fiction as a writer describes the unfolding of events, but they are also found when describing any actual sequence of activity. Then also we say, this happened, then I went there, then. So, narrative paragraphs are often used to describe what a person does over a period of time. So, what type of sentence we are using? It creates a narrative paragraph. Next is definition. Starting point for a definition paragraph is a simple definition, which becomes the topic sentence of the paragraph. Now, The simple definition means it has three parts: the item, the category, and features. For example, you can see change is a type of process which involves passing from one state or phase to another. Now, when we talk about change, that is the item, category is a process, and features that it involves passing from one state or phase to another. So, this is the example of a definition sentence, and this creates a definition paragraph. Classification. In a classification paragraph, separate items are grouped into categories according to shared characteristics. Depending on the subject, you may be asked to classify people, organisms, things, or ideas. So, this begins a main idea and discusses the subcategories of that topic, comparing and contrasting them with each other. So, this was all about uh, sentences, and remaining sentence we'll discuss in the second year of your study. So, I hope this much is clear to you. Keep learning, stay indoors, stay safe. Thank you. We'll meet